This week, federal government alleges France is the financial hub of IPOB. France reacts. Nigerian athlete begins training for Winter Olympics. Edo State Permanent Secretary resists governor's attempt to sack him over fraud.
You cannot sack me. You cannot sack me. Now that's why they tell you.
And now, it's the other news.
And here's your host, Okey Bakassi.
Yeah, thank you, and welcome to another edition of The Other News. As always, we bring the news, you bring the laughs, and together we all have a great show. My guest is the Lagos State Commissioner for Information, Steve Arende, ladies and gentlemen. All right, there's plenty to come, but first, it's the other news headlines. Doctors of the Lagos University Teaching Hospital Psychiatric Ward recently went on strike and discharged the patients. A spokesman for the patients had just one question for the doctors. All right, Cocoa Master Dbanj says going into business was the greatest decision he made in his life. I have to agree with the brother because I've listened to his recent tracks. If he had stuck to only music, by now Dbanj would have been on a long thing. All right, President Muhammadu Buhari spent Independence Day visiting troops in Maiduguri. He was joined by military chiefs in cutting a cake. Is it me or is it the national cake looking one kind? Okay. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has said that for Nigeria to make progress, the economy needs to grow faster than the population. Wow, that's a good advice from a man who has almost 30 children. The United States Consul General to Nigeria, Mr. F. John Bray, has revealed that Nigeria and Ghanaian students are among the best students in African universities. And when asked which students are the very, very best, Nigerian or Ghanaian, our government wasted no time in picking the winner.
I want to see probably Senegal.
Wow. Well, and now to other matters. A man once said, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me." Well, that man was either very wise or very deaf.
What's that?
Yeah, because words have power.
Why?
Because words can inspire.
Why?
Words can heal. And yes, words can hurt.
Why?
I'm not answering you again, I beg. And if you don't like it, just travel down here and come and beat me. What? Huh? You say? That Anthony Joshua is already in Lagos. And he knows this studio. Hey, AJ, I beg, I was just joking. Who am I to confront a heavyweight boxer? You see what I was saying? Words can cause pain. Our constitution guarantees our freedom of speech and expression. But we have an obligation to exercise that right with a sense of responsibility. And the people who enforce the laws have the responsibility of protecting our rights. There was a time when a show like this could not possibly exist. You know, I would just be talking and then suddenly... In fact, back then when Fela spoke about the things happening in the country, the military government responded very politely by throwing him in prison. When he continued to exercise his rights to speak his conscience, then burn a house, kill him, mama, according to Fela. A few years later, Fela's son, Femi Kuti, released a song titled Bang, Bang, Bang. I just dig, you know the song. Me, I thought the song was about fireworks. But the government banned it and said, Habba, Femi, don't you know that children are listening? Nigeria has made a lot of progress from the days when journalists used to be detained, kidnapped, and even bombed. Nowadays, you can write articles to challenge your leaders, tweet insults at them, and even confront them in public. You can even set up a radio station abroad and be abusing the country. Until, of course, you set your foot in Nigeria again, and they catch you. Well, there's a phrase that has been on the lips of our leaders lately.
What breeds hate speech?
Hate speech is not free speech.
Hate speech has never been tolerated.
No to hate speech.
Promoting hate speeches.
Fake news or hate news?
Yes, hate speech is suddenly a problem in Nigeria. But fear not, we are in a democracy, so I am sure the government will follow the laws of the land in tackling it.
We have our strategic media centers that monitor the social media.
Yeah? What in concern am inside this matter now? Is this 1984? The government is drafting an anti-hate speech bill that it will send to the National Assembly. That is according to the Minister of Interior, General Abdurrahman Dbanj, retired. Remember that recently, President Buhari was not happy that the national red lines had been crossed. So, 2 retired and 1 serving general complaining about the same thing. That's what fella would call army arrangement. But just as the government has been complaining that they are not sure what restructuring means, it's the same way me I'm saying that they need to clearly define this hate speech that they are referring to. Who decides what hate speech is? Show us where the red lines are and let us have an open debate about the limits of free speech. Nigeria has been independent for 57 years, but we need to stay vigilant and protect our freedoms. Yeah, my guest has had an illustrious career which has taken him from the newsroom of the Guardian newspapers to the boardroom of Punch and the National Mirror to the bedroom of power. He's an author, renowned film critic, who now serves as the Honorable Commissioner for Information in Lagos State. Please, a round of applause as we welcome Mr. Steve Fayose. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, bros.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to have you on the show today.
It's my pleasure to be here.
It's good to have somebody in charge of communication, especially in this darling state of ours, Lagos State. Yeah, let me start on a very communicative note. Why are we having problems as far as communication is concerned with government? Why is government reactive instead of proactive?
I think we shouldn't generalize hastily.
Okay.
As far as Nigeria is concerned, maybe there are only 2 main areas where news is happening. Maybe at the federal level, and of course in Lagos State. Okay. There will be a few other states where, you know, bits of activities are going on. Okay. So we could pardon those who think that governments are generally reactive. I wouldn't think that happens in Lagos. Because this is the hub of the media. Okay. This is the hub of the news, not only for Nigeria, but also in West Africa.
Yeah, I'll tend to agree with you that Lagos is a bit different because we all have our watchful eyes on Lagos.
Exactly, exactly.
But on a national level too, you will agree with me that government has not been proactive.
I will say that, let's broaden our perspective. I think we're also a difficult bunch in Nigeria.
Okay, so blame us. Blame us. Anytime it goes like this, blame us.
No, I'm not.
I'll leave that. I'll leave that for now. Yeah, the local government election in Lagos State, this last local government election, the turnout was very poor.
That's right.
Yeah, and everybody has been complaining, okay? How do we improve voter turnout, especially for local government elections?
I think sensitization and advocacy will be what we need. Okay. But those who are complaining should do the needful. One, they should register. And once they have registered, they should also exercise their civic duty. People complain on social media, on TV, in newspapers, but they won't come out. And particularly for the elite, the DSTV or TSTV watching, you know, bunch or crowd, who would rather follow elections, you know, on TV.
On TV and stay home.
And stay home. I think it is sensitization that we need more. It will be interesting that those who actually come out are the type that you will say, how come you have this level of people, you know, ruling over us?
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll continue this discussion with Welcome back. Welcome back to the other news. We are having a very illuminating conversation with my Lagos Commissioner for Information, Steve Ayoinde. Yes, we were talking about some things, but let me quickly move to something else. Lagos is doing a beautiful job beautifying Lagos. I've never seen Lagos this beautiful in a very long time, so I must give you kudos. Yeah. There's this fella statue on Allen Roundabout, yes, you know, with the African salute. Yes. Yeah. But it has no head. Yes. Why?
Because that's the concept of the artist.
Is it deliberate?
Well, let me just inform you first that the unveiling, the formal unveiling, will be on Sunday when Fela's birthday will happen. Okay. His 79th birthday, to round off celebration. That is the concept of the artist. It is deliberate. It is legitimate. I mean, it is art. It doesn't have to conform.
I love it. To be very honest, I love it. But I'm thinking that the fella not having a head, somehow.
Who says what you are seeing there, looking at, is fella? It is something to honor fella. Okay. And therefore, you can interpret it.
I trust you to defend it.
You can interpret it.
There's another statue that was unveiled recently.
Awolowo, right?
That has been generating a lot of comments. Yes. You know, and people are saying, why is Pa Awo's shoe so big? Yes. You know, and he's looking very chubby. Yeah. Especially in this time of recession.
Okay. You know what this is all about. Yeah. Art is not democratic. Okay. Art must evoke some comment, reactions. Yeah. It is in the nature of art.
So the reaction is proper.
And I hope you have listened to what Segun Awolowo said about those shoes, those big shoes. They speak to the fact that 30 years after Awolowo's demise, maybe those shoes are yet to be filled. 30 years after he left us. That's a message.
That's a smart one. Lagos State has been branded a luxury state. Too many things happening in Lagos now. It looks like we are preparing Lagos for only the rich. Is there a place we are planning to send poor people?
Poor people?
Just wondering.
Lagos is for everybody. Yes, Lagos is a luxurious brand. I mean, the whole point of why you will have an Okey registered in Lagos, voting in Imo, is because there's something here. It's a land of opportunities. Land of opportunities.
Yeah, because talking about the place of poor people in Lagos, there's a ban on street hawking. You know, and if things like this stay, we wouldn't have discovered somebody like Alhaji Moke, you understand, who is a product of street hawking. There's no ban. And, you know, there's no ban.
There's no ban on street hawking. There's a restriction on certain roads. The same way that you have the Okadas. Okay. There are more than 9,000 roads in Lagos. Okadas are restricted on 455. The same thing for street hawking.
Is it like
highways?
Poor people shouldn't hawk in rich areas.
On highways. On highways. It does not happen anywhere in the world. It does not happen anywhere in the world. So if we're saying let Lagos, compete with others, we should also respect the fact that many lives have been lost on a daily basis.
I know. I agree with you.
Locking up people.
Just checking. Just asking.
It's not a general ban.
Just to be sure. There are people who are thinking, okay, maybe they are trying to stop poor people hawking in rich areas.
Are you saying this is not the news or?
Danfo buses. Danfo buses are synonymous with Lagos. It's like a culture. It's like a part of Lagos culture.
That's correct.
Now Danfo buses will soon go. Why and what is replacing the Danfo buses?
Well, I mean, you know that the Danfo buses have not always been there. We just celebrated 50th anniversary of Lagos State. Okay. Guess what? 50 years ago, we had white and blue long buses. Okay. We have had Molues, but in the last 10, 15 years, you've not seen Molues. Molues were also part of the Lagos landscape before. Okay. But we realized that the town or the city has outgrown Molues. Okay. The phase where we are now, with the rate of accidents, with the rate of robberies, we can't have a decent, mega smart city like Lagos still having those small yellow buses. So what we have done is that in the next 2 years, we will have a gradual face-off of the yellow buses. And instead, we'll replace them, as from January 2018, with medium-sized blue and white buses, returning to the good old days, and then the long ones, so that we can conveniently take care of the physically challenged. We can add to the layer of progress that we already have with the BRT buses, where you enter with ACs and everything, more convenient.
By the way, I like the whole concept of the BRT bus.
Absolutely.
Okay, yes. Like I said in the beginning, Lagos is doing a whole lot of good stuff. Yeah. And recently, in addition to that, you commissioned the new DNA forensic lab, which is a good one. Yeah. At least now, you can be sure that this person is your picking. In addition to so many other things, absolutely, you know, that can come out of that. Absolutely. But there's something that I won't let you go here without asking you. We moved from Eko Nibaje to Itesiwaju Leko. You understand? Yes. Why?
Remember that Eko for show has always been there.
Yes.
From Jakonde to Ashiwaju, Eko Nibaje Ubajeti has remained. But then the level where we are,
are we not confusing tourists? Like, if a tourist comes into Lagos, he has to now remember all these things. You understand? It go for sure. It go Nibaje. Then he comes back next year again with another thing.
Okay, let's leave with Itesiwaju Ipileko for another 8 years, and then we see what happens after.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. To other matters now. The election season is upon us, and politicians have started making moves.
With me as your president, with Ayo Dele Peter Fayose as your president, come 2019, you can be rest assured of a government that will be responsive to your needs.
Yes, Governor Fayose of Okey recently declared his presidential ambition. Some people came to the venue of the declaration hoping to get stomach infrastructure, but there was nothing for them. After all, no be every election be Christmas. You might remember that Governor Fayose used to be a member of the PDP during his first tenure as governor. Then he decamped to the Action Congress of Nigeria and then returned to the PDP. Seated beside him was his old friend, Chief Femi Fani-Kayode, who used to be with the PDP, then with the APC, before returning to the PDP. So many politicians in Nigeria are political travelers. And if you try to follow their political careers, your eyes will be moving like this, like Serena Williams, the playing sister for tennis. You know, the thing can give you a headache. These politicians tell the youth to be focused. But do they take their own advice? Is this jumping from one party to another a sign that politicians are focused on their own survival? Or is it just political randomness? At the end of the day, you can't really blame them. It is the parties I blame, because instead of having some kind of distinct ideology, they have slogans. When a party says its philosophy is carry go, ask them, what are they carrying and where to? When they say it is change, ask them, what are you changing to? If they say their philosophy is fresh air, ask them if they cannot perceive the generator fumes. Think of politicians as traders in the market, and think of yourself as a customer. Imagine that you go to the market to buy things to make soup, then you get there and follow and allow the trader tell you which soup you need to cook and what ingredients you need to buy. Then the trader will put his hands in your pocket, take any amount of money he likes, pay himself, and even keep the change. Then send you on your way. You get home ready to cook, open your shopping bag, and realize that they have sold you nothing but sand. Then you settle down with your hunger, grumble for another 4 years, and return to the market to start the whole process again. With the chop sand. Are we normal? We can do better for ourselves. Let's set the agenda. What are the issues that are important to us? Use the hashtag 2019 shopping lists. Tweet at us or talk to us on Facebook and Instagram and list the things that you want the politicians to focus on in the coming elections. Remember to use the hashtag 2019 shopping list. Let us tell them what we want. Anyway, thank you. We'll hear from D Humorous in just a moment. It's still the other news. Yeah, this is the other news. In spite of 1,000 or 2,000 small major problems, Nigeria remains the greatest country on earth. Our usually upset correspondent Daniel the Humorous now joins us to share his thoughts on the Nigerian spirit.
Everything in Nigeria feels like a struggle. From when you were born to as you're living, and even when you die, you're burying yourself in a war. But we are Nigerians. We don't give up. The spirit of resilience, perseverance, and patience is very much in play. They say if you can make it in Nigeria, you can make it anywhere. And if you cannot make it in Nigeria, you can still make it anywhere. Perhaps that is why we have lots of Nigerians in their thousands and millions checking out on a daily basis. And your neighbor, who cannot pay his house rent, is busy borrowing money left, right, and center for his wife to deliver the next baby in the United States of America. Because perhaps it's believed that the living and working conditions abroad are conducive to success. One begins to wonder, if Chimamanda Adichie wasn't abroad, she probably would have been honing her literary skills, but on the comment section of Nigerian blogs with bad spelling and wrong grammar. If Jidenna didn't go abroad, he would have still been a classic man, but a very classic Ogene singer or Nkpokiti dancer. Or perhaps, if Anthony Joshua wasn't in the UK, he would probably be somewhere in Surulere using those muscles to turn amala in shita instead of winning laurels in England. Or Dr. Okunola, who is a personal physician to the nearly elected president of the US, yes, by popular vote, would have been somewhere in Yaba dispensing codeine and tramadol and diagnosing only malaria and typhoid like every other Nigerian doctor. Or perhaps Chinwetele Jofo would have been somewhere in Enugu or Asaba by now, dragging for the love of a village widow with Chinweta Lago in a Nollywood movie. And the list goes on. On the flip side of this argument, however, what would have been the fate of someone like Abbas Obesere growing up in Compton in the company of Ice Cube and Dr. Dre? What would have been the fate of someone like Elumelu in China? Probably would have been running an Esusu scheme with Africans living in China. Or Dangote would have had a flour and sugar shop somewhere in the corner of Peckham in London, near a Juju shrine somewhere in London as well. This is what my friend used to say, waiting goat they find for aquarium. However, there are some Nigerians who are giving us problem even in diaspora. People like this.
I want to go for Nigeria president 2019. It's not a joke.
Your husband to stop calling me. I beg. Allergy always trying to find out where I'm about to be.
I'm not regular. I come through like bang da da dam, everything like da da dam, smash through like bang da da dam, da da dam, da da dam.
How these people usually escape deportation radar is what I still do not understand. But the bad part is that even if they deport them, we will re-deport them. And they will just end up being a diplomatic tennis ball across nations in the world. But the point here, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that Nigerians have what is called the Nigerian Spirit, a pre-installed software that comes into them by birth. And the beautiful thing is we can make it anywhere, regardless of our location, if only the Nigerian spirit is well activated and articulated. Besides, we all need Nigerians to flourish both home and abroad. If everybody goes abroad, we will be sending fresh okazi and dried bushmeat to the overseas. And if everybody's in Nigeria, we will be sending okrika clothes and accidented cars back home. So you can see that we need each other across board. The truth right here, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are a good people and a great nation. And all it takes is to activate the Nigerian spirit for us to be positive in our thoughts, insert a lot of hard work, and our dreams will surely come through like bang da da da.
Like bang da da da. All right, thank you, Dan. Yes, may our Nigerian dream come true. That's our show. You have been an awesome audience. You can find all our episodes, clips, and exclusive content on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, YouTube. Our handle remains The Other News CTV. Follow and please subscribe. Our elders say that person will get patience, can even boil stone. My name is Okey, and hosting you has been my pleasure. Don't miss me too much. See you soon.